Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you about all of my cats. So over the last year and a half, little over a year and a half that I've been doing YouTube, especially the last year when I've had more of a following, I guess you could say. I've gotten so many questions about my cats because they appear in a lot of my videos, like in the background or whatever. So I felt like I'd do a get ready with me. Like, I'm gonna be putting makeup on. I don't have any specific look in mind. I'm literally just going to be slapping makeup on and telling you these things. So it's gonna be a little chatty, but it's gonna be all about the cats. If you are new here, hi, I'm Kendra. I post 3 beauty/lifestyle videos a week. Obviously, I don't do videos like this ever. My channel is not about my cats. It is about my love for makeup and beauty and fashion and all that kind of stuff. But this will help you get to know me a little bit more, maybe help you understand why I have so many cats. This intro is getting way too long, so let's just get right on into the video. I guess we should tell you about my history with animals. I grew up with cats and dogs my whole life, like always had cats, always had dogs at the same time, no matter where we were. That was my family and I loved it. Like at one point we had like over 20 animals in our house because we had like 3 cats, 2 dogs. We had like a bearded dragon, which is a lizard. I want a bearded dragon so bad. And we had like, I don't know, we had like 15 fish. Like my sister had a fish tank. It was, oh, and we had birds too. It was a fun house. I've always had animals, always been obsessed with animals, always loved having animals, and like animals have always been friends to me. I know that sounds funny, but like who doesn't love cuddling with their dog or their cat? You know what I mean? Anyways, I just used the Becca backlight priming filter and I'm taking my Smashbox primer water. So we had cats and dogs and that was just our lifestyle. I'm obsessed with animals. They are a huge part of me and who I am and what I love. And they are a huge part of my life and I like make them be a huge part of my life because that's what I love. I moved up to Utah. My family still has animals back in California. The 2 dogs we had growing up, we had yellow labs. They were brother and sister. They were litter mates. Daisy lived to 14 and Dodger lived to 15. So they lived actually really long lives for labs because generally labs live anywhere from 10 to 13 years, but they lived to about 14 and Dodger lived to 15. It was amazing. They were the best dogs in the world. I just realized I don't have a wet beauty blender, so I'll be right back. So the reason I'm saying all these things is, I guess, to tell you my history, but also to let you know that I am not just like obsessed with cats and no other animals. Like I love all animals, but as far as pets go, I love dogs like so much. Dogs are obviously a lot more maintenance, like they need more time. I give my cats honestly so much time, but a cat can get by with like, you know, not as much time as given to it as a dog. Like a dog needs a lot of attention, a lot of care. So that is why we don't have a dog just yet. We've come super close to getting a dog about 3 different times. There were dogs, we had like their name, we were gonna go get them from the shelter, and probably is going to happen maybe this year, but I'm so excited for when we get a dog. But it's just, it has to be a good time. You can't say you're going to take in this pet, this animal, you're going to literally take care of this life and not give it the life it deserves. You know what I mean? So that's why we haven't done that just yet. So about our cats. Sam and I started dating, it was 2014, very beginning of February 2014. So we were together in the summer of that year and we were hanging out at my cousin's house in a different city that he lives kind of like near a mountain and a big field. And these 2 tiny little cats ran out of this big field and ran straight up to us. Like these 2 tiny little cats. Me being an animal lover and especially like loving little kittens, because who doesn't love little kittens? I like instantly ran up to them, which is really rare because they like ran up to me too. But a lot of like cats that are, you know, feral or born and raised in the wilderness are a lot of times just scared of humans. These cats were not. So luckily my cousin had a cat of their own and they had cat food, so we fed the cat food to the kittens because they were literally skin and bones. Like straight up skin and bones. It was so scary. I had never seen anything like that before. And I just remember turning to Sam at the time. We'd only been dating for like 4 months, 5 months. And I was just like, you know, we're taking these home, right? like I'm taking these home, they're gonna be my cats. You know, we go to Walmart or whatever, pick up stuff for them and bring them home and pick up like kitten milk, because when they're that young, they need like nutrients from milk still, so you can go buy like powdered milk and then you mix it with like, I don't remember. Anyways, but yeah, you can feed them stuff like that. We had them, and that was Flynn, and I will show pictures when I'm talking about them, and so is Flynn and Sally. Flynn and Sally do not look like brother and sister. They didn't look like litter mates. They very well could have been, but they had very different features. Like Sally was long hair with a super gorgeous fluffy tail. She was mainly gray and black, whereas Flynn, he was bigger but short hair, and he is brown with black. So like, and they have different eyes. Like very well could have been litter mates, but I don't think they were. I think that somebody maybe adopted them or bought them and they had gotten out and couldn't find them. So that is another thing. We did put up flyers and ads asking if these were anyone's cats for like a month or so, and no one responded. So we had an amazing time with these two cats. They were probably about 4 weeks old when we got them, so they were tiny, and at that point they should definitely still be with their mom, but since we obviously didn't have a mom for them, we took them home and did all those extra things. I promise not all these stories are gonna be as long, but this one's just a little bit longer. So we have them for a while and then, you know, get them fixed, and we're, you know, good cat parents. And then it turns out in May of 2015, so we had almost had them for a year, Sally looked like she was pregnant. Like she had a huge belly, but she had been fixed. Flynn was fixed. Like there was no way that she could have been pregnant unless the people who fixed them butchered both of their surgeries, which is just so rare. We took her to the vet, and we come to find out that she had a disease called feline infectiitis. Let me pull up the name. So it is called feline infectious peritonitis. And basically, I'm gonna say this in the least professional terms because I'm not a veterinarian. It is when a gene mutates incorrectly, so you can kind of relate it to cancer a little bit, where it's not, there's no way to prevent it, and they have to be born with that gene too. So it is quite rare, but if the mother has it, usually a lot of the times the kittens are going to have it. And they either have it within like the first year of their life or like their third year. There are two forms. There's a dry form and a wet form. Usually the dry form, they can live with that, but the wet form, their intestines just continuously secrete this like liquid and their stomach fills up and they just die. Once we found out about that, obviously it was really traumatizing and really sad, and Sally lived about another 2 weeks after that, and she was like my homegirl. I didn't like quite understand, like when you have pets as a kid, it's a little bit different because, you know, usually they're your parents' pets and they got them for you, but your parents still do most of the hard work, like buying the food. Obviously you're not gonna buy the food, or feeding them, giving them water, changing their litter box, or if it's a dog, picking up the poop in the backyard. And when you have your own pet, it's like a whole different ball game. You really care for that thing. I obviously don't have any real children, but I feel like this is the closest thing that could be to having like your own child. Like you really care for that thing like it is your child. And Sally and I had never like connected with an animal like I did with her. I remember just walking in the room and I'd say her name and she'd just look at me and be like, meow, and then just follow me around everywhere. So we buried her, and we still had Flynn. Flynn is a great cat. We still have him to this day. He's the oldest one of all of our cats. So we have Flynn and Sally is no longer with us, but I will get her in heaven once I go back to heaven. But while we still had Sally, before Sally died, we got Murphy. Now Murphy, long story short, somebody had bought Murphy off of a Craigslist ad, which bought him when he was only 4 weeks old, which is really bad because cats are supposed to be with their moms till at least 8 weeks because of like the milk and the nutrients and everything. And anyways, this cat wasn't being taken care of properly, and the people who originally bought it couldn't keep it. So then my roommate was like, well, I'll help you keep it until you find something better. But then she couldn't keep it. So then once I found out, I was like, well, I'm gonna keep him. And so we kept Murphy. We named him Murphy because we had just seen Interstellar. Well, actually Interstellar probably came out almost a year before, or a couple months before we got him. But you know, the daughter in Interstellar, her name is Murphy, like Murphy's Law. And we loved that movie, and Murphy had red hair, like Murphy's an orange cat, and then Murphy in the movie had red hair, so we're like, oh, well, even though it's a girl, we'll still name him Murphy. Oh, and Sally was named Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas, and Flynn was named Flynn from Rapunzel, like Tangled Rapunzel. Flynn Rider, Eugene. So yeah, then we had Murphy, and he was incredibly malnourished when we got him. His eyes are really clouded over, and like his fur was like just like really unhealthy looking. So we took him in, and it was just amazing. He's the biggest cuddle bug ever. I will show you guys some pictures. I'll insert some pictures here. So yeah, we had Murphy for a while, and Murphy is 3.5 probably now. Yeah, 3.5. He'll probably turn 4, I think, in like October. And then it was Jack. Jack is named Jack, like Jack Skellington or Jack Sparrow, 2 of my favorite movies ever. And he is not in really like any videos because he kind of hangs out like on the ground or underneath things because he does have bad anxiety problems. But he is a gorgeous cat. He kind of looks like a gorgeous cat raccoon. I will show you guys some pictures. I'll insert some pictures and everything. But Jack we got off of an ad. I think we were on Facebook, and we were just like scrolling through Facebook, and we saw that somebody couldn't keep their cat anymore, and so we took in Jack. We thought he was a girl at the time. So we named him Gwen, like Gwen Stacy from The Amazing Spider-Man, but turns out he was a boy, which we ended up being for the best because Gwen is not a good name for a cat. I mean, it is. If you want to name your cat Gwen, go for it. But it's just kind of harder to say, like, and what do you say for like a nickname, you know? So yeah, Jack, Jackie, Jack. Would just recommend not doing your brows and talking at the same time because it took me like, it already takes me super long to do them. It took me even longer. Okay, so we have talked about Flynn, Sally, Murphy, and Jack, even though Sally's not with us anymore, so it's Flynn, Murphy, Jack. So the next one happened, I would say 2.5 years ago, because it was fall of 2015. And we were going down to California, and somebody had found, who is now Little Man, in a field. I don't even know, they just found him in a field, and they were like, we're not gonna keep him anymore, we're gonna take him to the pound or whatever if we can't find somebody to take him in. And Little Man was 4 weeks old, like tiny little guy. And so we ended up saying, like, you know what, we already have 3 cats, we don't want any more yet, we'll foster him. We'd more than happy to foster him and find him a good home because, you know, we love animals. So Sam and I got married later that year. So Sam was obviously spending a lot of time with these animals because he was always around with the animals in my house. So we were maybe thinking of giving Little Man to my sister. She had just moved in with us earlier late that summer, or actually middle of summer, more like. And so we were like, oh, maybe Kira will want him. And then we kind of decided like, well, I actually think like a couple of our friends were like, oh, maybe they would want him because we do have a lot of friends who like animals and they love cats. We have like tons of friends who have cats, which is awesome because we just create this cat world. Nobody was like really wanting him yet, and then we were like, oh, maybe my sister's gonna want him. But by the time we had that thought, we had already had him for a couple of weeks, and Sam was in love head over heels with Little Man. Like, they were just cuddle bugs all day, all night. They were so in love with each other. And so by the time that happened, he obviously wasn't going to be given to anyone else. The reason his name is Little Man is because we didn't name him because we thought we were fostering him, so we'd call him Little Man, like, where's Little Man, where's Little Man? More as like his like pseudonym until, you know, somebody else adopted him. But it just stuck, and so his name since birth has always been Little Man, and I love it because it just fits him. He is our other orange cat. Him and Murphy look like they could be brothers. And they're the two that like act like brothers the most. I was using the ColourPop California Dreamin' bronzer, by the way. Such a good one. So little man is just so adorable. He's like the cat that never stops being a kitten. He always loves playing. He loves like doing wild things. He is just so fun. He's got a great personality. So then we had little man for a year with no other cats. So it was, I mean, like no additional cats. So we had Flynn, Murphy, Jack, little man. And I had really wanted to go adopt an old female cat because I love female cats. Like, I'm obsessed with all of our cats, but like Sally and I we really had something, and it had been long enough, and I was like, I really want a female cat to really attach to and like to just fall in love with. And so I had already been looking at like the Humane Society website, keeping my eye out for something like that, and then our friend found Katza. Katza is the cat you probably see most on my Instagram story because she's always following me around everywhere. She's always where I am. She is white with like black. She's right next to me. I'll show her. Come here, babe. This is Katza. Say hi. She follows me everywhere. She sleeps on my pillow with me at night. She just wants to cuddle with me all day and all night. So my friends had found her and they were like, can you foster? And I was like, oh yeah, definitely. And I had thought like, you know, maybe we'll keep her because I've been looking for a girl cat anyways. But when I saw her, I was like, you know what? We're probably not gonna keep her, but we'll foster her because I wanted to find like an ugly old cat that like no one else was going to love. That was like my goal. And obviously that was not Katza. She is this gorgeous, like skinny, well, she's not super skinny. She's a little chunky. She's not fat, but she's a little chunky. She just this like gorgeous little cute little thing that's like just so adorable. And I was like, she's too perfect and just, it's not for me. And she hated our cats. Like with a fiery passion, she hated all the other cats. So we had to separate them for the longest time. She would make like these crazy sounds I've never heard cats make. It was like not even a hiss, it was like a but a hiss. I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a it was the weirdest thing. Oh, I just put like way too much powder on. Whoops. So we had a spare room at the time, which ended up like working out perfectly for when, because we did foster a couple other cats other than Katza. I would go in there and hang out with her because I felt bad for her. And it just took about 2 times for me to fall madly in love with her. And my sister always jokes around because she remembers me distinctly saying like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna fall in love with her. She's just not what I was looking for. Turns out I fell in love with her hard, like hardcore. And that was 2016, like in September or August. So we've had her for a year and a half. We don't know how old she is. She's the only cat that we have like no idea, but she was quite small and still young looking when we got her. So I think she was probably at most anywhere from like a year to a year and a half old, like no older than that. We just clicked. Like that girl, she is the love of my life and we do everything together. She's basically a dog. She literally follows me around the house. If I go to the bathroom, she has to follow me into the bathroom. If like, it's wild. I'm obsessed with her. So it's okay, but it's wild. I'm taking some ColourPop single shadows I have here, and I'm just doing like a really basic eye, just in case you were wondering. The reason I named her Katza was one of my favorite books ever. It's called Graceling, which if you like reading, I highly recommend Graceling. It's a great book. The main character's name is Katza. That author is actually one of my favorite authors, but my favorite book by that author, actually my favorite book ever, is called Fire, and it's also by that author. The main character's name is Fire, like the main book name is Fire, so I didn't want to name my cat Fire, or else I would have, because that's like my favorite book. But my second favorite book, Graceling, I was like, oh, her name is Katza. So it's Katsa. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably have seen her plenty of times. She's a gorgeous girl and she just is my favorite thing in the world. So with that incredibly long description, we have 5 cats. Now the title of the video and the thumbnail might be, you know, a little clickbaity because I put 8 cats, but it is true at the same time because my sister lives with us, as a lot of you may know. Kira, she lives with us. She has 3 cats, so there are 8 cats in this house. Now you might be thinking that I'm absolutely insane in the membrane. Did that take us all back to the 90s? Because that saying did for me. I know it's crazy. No one needs to tell me that. Like, I actually know that having this many cats is crazy. I know I'm a crazy cat lady, but I like love my life. I love my cats. I love taking care of them. They're, you know, one of the reasons that I like love coming home and love being at home. It's because I get to hang out with them. So I don't need anyone to tell me that I'm crazy. One, because I already know, and two, because I enjoy being crazy, okay? To each their own, and that's the beauty of this world we live in. I love when I get comments of people saying like, your cats are so cute, because I feel like even though I didn't birth these cats, I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Like, that's such an honor. Thankfully, none of our other cats have ever gotten sick or like had an illness like Sally, especially one that there's no cure for, like Sally's. So we've been kind of blessed in that sense. I'm very grateful for that. I am hoping to get a dog this year, like I was mentioning, sometime this year, hopefully. I'll probably just adopt a dog from the shelter because one, in the future we will have puppies, but right now with our lifestyle it's a lot easier to have a dog, and two, because I do believe in adopt, don't shop. There are responsible breeders, so if you are going to buy a puppy, I highly recommend doing as much research as you possibly can and finding a responsible breeder so that you are not giving your money to somebody who's going to turn around and do irresponsible breeding with dogs again. One day we will have a puppy, but right now it is so much better for us to have an older dog, like, you know, not necessarily in their first year or two. I'd rather have something like from 3 years and older. My dream is to find, we had such a good experience with yellow labs. They're like the best kind of dogs to have with like a family, labs or retrievers. I would love to find like a 3-year-old yellow lab at the shelter that I can just adopt and love on and get my cats used to having dogs. I already did bronzer, as you guys saw, so now I'm just gonna go into my Milani Luminosa, which it is one of the best blushes of all time ever. It is so amazing. I always go back to this. Sometimes I spend a little bit of time away from it and then I go back to it. And then one thing I've been loving lately is Champagne Pop. It is obviously an amazing highlight, but sometimes I go back and forth. Sometimes I feel like it's too dark for me, and sometimes I'm like, no, it's gorgeous. So right now I'm in one of those stages where I'm just like, I don't care. It's so beautiful. If I was just like a little bit tanner, it'd be perfect, but you know, you can't all win every time. The reason I decided to make this video was somebody recently commented on my video asking how many cats I had, because every time they watched a video of mine, they saw a different cat in the background. And I just started laughing when I saw that comment, because I was like, ooh, I knew somebody was gonna realize that I had like thousands of cats, basically. So I'm gonna spray my face with the Smashbox primer water. And for some more hydration, I'm gonna use my Mario Badescu green tea cucumber water too. I am going to throw on some mascara and then I will be right back with you guys to put on a lip and then finish out the video. Okay, so my hair is still a little damp from the shower I took earlier, but I am going to use the This Is Everything gloss by the Kris Jenner collection from Kylie Cosmetics, just because I want something easy. Okay guys, this is a final look. Not that I really went in depth about what I was doing, because it was mainly to tell you guys about my cats, but yes. And this is Murphy. He's like, please let me go. He's got the best personality. He is so fun. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up. And also, I am willing to answer as many questions as possible. So if you have any other animal, pet, or cat questions, just leave them down below and I will get to as many as I possibly can. But I love you guys very much. Thank you for tuning in today. Have a great morning, noon, evening, day, night, whenever happens to be that you're watching this video. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.